Iowa. And I have TJ Pauley with us as well. I am the Vice President, Regional Branch Manager for United Bank of Iowa in our area here. I kind of oversee the management of Carroll, Sheridan, and our new office that we just opened up on Monday in Boone, Iowa. So, and TJ started with the bank here 3 days ago, right out of college there. He is our Ag 1 Officer trainee, so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to bring TJ as well in case you have any questions. TJ can kind of help you out as well there, okay? Before we get started and talk about the history of the bank, I have two individuals that are willing to volunteer and help me out here. Jace and Tess, you guys will step forward here and help me out. This is a great opportunity here, okay? Because banking's about money, right? Yeah? All right. So here you go. Do me a favor here, Tess. Give everyone a gold coin. Give everyone a gold coin. All right. Okay. All right. Jace, give everyone a gold coin here, okay? All right. Okay, as you're handing those coins out, we'll talk about that here in a minute. So that is an actual gold dollar. Everyone gets one. Everyone gets one. Okay? So, a little bit about United Bank of Iowa. United Bank of Iowa, we're celebrating our 85th anniversary. We've been in business since 1932. Give you an idea here about United Bank of Iowa. We have 27 different locations in the state of Iowa. We'll get that taken care of there. So, as I mentioned, United Bank of Iowa, we've been in business for 85 years. Here in the state of Iowa, we have 27 locations as of this week here when we opened our Boone office on Monday. Most of our offices are in rural Iowa. So, part of our mission statement is to stay in the small communities. So, Iron Grove is our home office, and a lot of those communities that we're in are Kyron, Oroville, Lake City. Our largest locations are Carroll, Iowa, Fort Dodge, Storm Lake, and Denison, and now Boone. But we decided to always stay in the rural communities to keep the communities, you know, flourishing through and keep the communities alive. That's why we decided to stay in rural Iowa. Did you get yourself up? Make sure you got yourself on there, okay? So, and I'll explain the point here in just a minute here after you're done visiting United Bank of Iowa. We are the largest ag bank in the state of Iowa. Right now in the nation, we're about 14th in the nation. Nationwide, we have about 5,500 banks nationwide. To give you an idea of what's happened in the banking industry, back in 1993 when I graduated from high school, there was 13,000 banks nationwide. Now we're down to 5,500. In the state of Iowa, we have 399 banks in the state of Iowa. Out of the 399 banks, when we look at profitability, we're ranked around somewhere between 8th and 5th in the state of Iowa for profitability. So, we pride ourselves on our integrity, on our confidentiality, and the work that we do here. I started with the bank back in October 1999 when we opened up the bank here in Carroll. Came back to build the bank here in Carroll. At that time, our bank was $225 million in assets. As of today, we're pushing $1.5 billion in 18 years. So it's one of those things that we're proud of, that we've been growing in our communities. Our communities have been growing as well. And truly, our success comes from your guys' success. If our communities are successful, the bank will be successful. Now, with the gold coin there, we handed out a gold coin. As you see, handing out money is pretty easy, right? Here in Carroll, we have 6 banks, 1 credit union, and a farm credit all within 2 miles. And we're in a town of 10,000 people. A lot of people say, gosh, there's a lot of banks here in town, right? That, for 10,000 people, is 6 banks, a credit union, and a farm credit all within 2 miles, okay? Handing out money is pretty easy, isn't it? Okay? Jace, stand up. Tess, stand up here, okay? So these 2 individuals handed out money for you guys, right? That was pretty easy. Anyone can do that. Now, you have money in your hand. When you have money in your hand, you got a couple things you can do. You can go put it in a coffee can and bury it in the backyard, right? Or when you have money, you go reinvest it, right? Have your dollar make another dollar. Put it in the stock market, invest it in a savings account or CD here, okay? Now, with that gold coin you have in your hand, How many of you would invest it with Chase? Or how many of you would invest it with Tez? First go with Chase. How many of you would invest it with Chase?
Oh.
Okay. All right. All right. Tez. How many of you would invest it with Tez?
Oh.
All right. Once again, what I just showed you, handing out money is easy, right?
Yeah.
Our job's easy? Nah. What makes our job special and separates us from those other 5 banks, credit union, or that farm credit, is the relationship, the trust. Obviously, most of you that raised your hand was for Tez. Kind of a trust factor. Relationship factor, possibly.
Wow.
Right? Possibly. So that's what separates banks from one another, is the relationships that you build. And a relationship is built upon trust. You guys go and sit back down. All right? Right there's a good example. So as we're looking at hiring individuals, we look at the individual's character. Look at the individual, how they're going to, interact and build relationships. Okay? So right there, Tez had a few more that probably say, hey, this is an individual that some people trust. Jason's a bad guy by no means. Jason might have to work a little bit harder to build those relationships. But handing out money is the easy part. The true challenge of our job is building those relationships. Because we could not have gone from $225 million to $1.5 billion in 18 years if it wasn't for the relationship building that we have. And that's the key that I want you to get out of everything today that we talk about here, okay? Real quick here, a little bit about our company's culture. As I mentioned, we're the largest ag bank in the state of Iowa. Our forte is ag lending, as well as residential lending and commercial lending. Giving you an idea here, how many of you heard about the agriculture crisis of the 1980s? That was before you guys were born. Have you heard about it? It was a tough time in agriculture, okay? Brady's aware of this. We talked about this in his class before, too. What took place during the 80s was a lot of people, what they ended up doing is they bought land when it was really expensive, and all of a sudden land prices came down 33% in 6 months. So all of a sudden you bought this ground, it's not worth what you bought it for. And now your loan is what we call underwater. I have more money lent on that ground than what that ground is worth. Interest rates went from 8% to 18% in that period of time. Our bank culture was, we're going to stand by our customers. We talk about relationship building. Our best relationships were built during the tough times and the challenging times. We stood by our customers. During that period of time, our shareholders got together during the 80s and raised $8 million amongst themselves and relent it back out to our customers at 8% instead of 18% to help them through the crisis. That's kind of our culture, giving back to our communities. Part of the culture that we have within our bank is we are a small bank. Or say, if you look at all the national banks like the Bank of America's, U.S. banks, and Wells Fargo's, we have 300 employees among our 27 locations. Our bank is only held, it's a privately held bank. We have about 100 shareholders. Of that, 8% of the bank is actually owned by the employees through an ESOP plan. So part of our culture is, if you come work for us, we want to take care of you and your family. We had a situation happen about 16 years ago. We had an office manager who passed away from cancer. After the funeral, we realized he was not well equipped with life insurance to take care of his family. So one of the things that our bank went ahead and did was they went ahead and assigned life insurance to each office manager and each key employee in the bank as additional coverage for them. So on top of the $50,000 that we give our normal employees, our key employees and our managers also receive another $100,000 for the time and effort that they put into the bank. Some of the benefits that we have for our employees is we have a 401k plan. Many of you know what 401k is? Retirement plan, right? Kind of a perk for the bank, because we're always looking for the future in our families. Every dollar you put in, the bank matches 35%. If any of you are, my age in the room, you understand that's a huge match that takes place. So regardless of what you put into that 401k, they will match 35%. That's 35% of your money that's free that they're giving to you. Of course, you hear about the banker's hours, right? Well, I wish those were true. Sometimes a lot of people think that you're off work by 3 o'clock. A lot of times we're not. TJ's aware of that, 30 days working into this here. A lot of times those relationship buildings, I get phone calls at 6 o'clock in the morning, I get phone calls at 10 o'clock at night. An issue comes up. Had a situation where all of a sudden, a great example here, Husband, farm accident. Okay, was harvesting 8 o'clock at night, was in a car accident. Got to the hospital, wife will call in. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. But I know you know our operation. Well, yes, we do. We have the folders and files and everything on hand. So we can work with those individuals and guide them through. So our job never really stops. We get phone calls, you know, I've got a phone call at 10:30 at night. True story, had an individual, he was working in the field, got home and saw a card on his door from the IRS, okay, saying, I need to talk to you. Calls me at 10:30 at night. He goes, what do I do? It's 10:30 at night, there's not much you can do. Tomorrow morning, I'll help you, let's give him a call. His tax preparer forgot to fill out a form, it was a simple equation. But that relationship that we're talking about, when that guy got that card in his door, if any of us got a card in the door from the IRS, we'd be a little panicky. At least he knew someone was backing him, someone was supporting him, that he wasn't by himself. He probably didn't sleep the best that night, but he knew someone was with him that night. And the next morning, the relationship kicked in, and I was there to make a phone call with him and realized, just get a form signed, all is well. That's what separates us from our competitors there. A couple of the other competitive features about our bank, with our company culture, I mentioned the employees own 8% of the bank through an ESOP plan. The 8% of the bank that's owned by the employees, it's money that our board of directors give free to the employees for working at the bank. So you don't actually buy the stock, it's given to you. Give you an idea here, as I mentioned, how we grew from $225 million to $1.5 billion. In 1999, when I started with the bank, our bank stock was worth $2,500 a share. As of this summer, it was $12,500 for the same share. So there's people, when they retire from our bank after they've worked here for 40 some years, and they have to cash in their ESOP plan, they'll have over $800,000 that was just given to them free, not for you free. For dedication and being there to help out the bank during good and bad times. Job availabilities, those are questions that come up here. To talk about job availabilities, people ask, okay, what does it take to work at a bank? You know, are there openings at a bank right now? Truly, to answer that question, back in my day, back in the 90s, it was what we call an employer's market, not an employee market, where there was so many qualified candidates, the employer was picking and choosing. Back in my day, when you wanted to do an internship, you had to do it for free. Nowadays, it's an employee market, where we're trying, employees can kind of dictate a little more what they want to have and kind of build a deal for them before they come to work, whether it be with a bank, whether it be an accounting firm, whether it be even a doctor. So right now it's an employee's market. In order for us to understand the job, to come into the bank as an employer, to tell you what I want, I need to understand what you guys want to be successful, so I meet your guys' needs. I work with a consulting company, an HR consulting company, and they survey across the United States. A couple things that came up in the survey here. Here's some quick statistics. I'm a banker, so I'm a numbers guy. I'll just run some statistics past you here. 71% of the workforce today are open to changing their job right now. Okay? 46% of employers are finding it difficult to find good quality candidates to come work for them. I would argue here in town, we're closer to 70%, just visiting with small business owners. We have businesses here in town that are closing because they cannot get good qualified candidates to come work for them. We have businesses in town that will give you a bonus if you just don't call in sick or don't show up. You actually come to town. Okay? 69% of the 2016 graduates will stay in the first job for 3 years. 33% of them plan on staying in their job for more than 3 years, up to 5 years. 75% of individuals nowadays that are looking for a job are willing to relocate across the United States for the right job. Finding out big is better. Sometimes you hear that saying. People want to work for a large corporation, a JP Morgan, want to work for whether it be a Walmart, a big corporation. We're finding out 44% of the individuals that are looking for a job right now prefer to work for a small company or a medium-sized company. They don't want to worry about layoffs. You know, we're in a small town community bank. Before I came to my bank, I was working, right now our bank's $1.5 billion, I was working for an $18 billion bank. At age 24, part of my job was buying banks the size of our bank. I was working for a company that had 4,000 employees. I saw the writing on the wall. We bought 9 banks in 18 months. I was like, wow, we're going too quick here. And we wanted to move back to Carroll to raise our family here. And I remember interviewing, they were asking me, when the bank currently at, when do you think they're going to sell? Because everyone saw the writing on it. I said 5 years. They'll have a new name. It was 5 years and 6 months. And then they ended up laying off about 1,500 workers. So moving back to Carroll was a good decision for me and my family. I could have been one of those 1,500. 60% of people nowadays want full-time work instead of part-time work. Looking at right now, 87% of the employees in the workforce do not feel engaged with their job. They're just coming to work. They don't feel like they're bringing something back to the table. They don't feel like they're engaged, that they're providing to the table there. Right now, here's some good statistics about younger individuals here. 50% of candidates will not apply for a job if they cannot use their smartphone to apply for the job. I see this all the time. The last 3 years when I have a job posting, 90% of the candidates I can tell use their smartphone to apply for the job. But here's even a scarier statistic. 25 to 55% of the people applying for the job, if it takes you more than 5 to 10 minutes to apply for that job, you'll quit the application, not finish it. It takes too long. Once again, when people go onto our website, in order to apply for a job at the bank, you have to go online. I can monitor all that. And it's a true statistic. I'll actually have a job posting. I'll maybe have 15 people apply for it, but I'll have 30 people that never finished the application. It's a 4-page application. They started, they just stopped. We're instant gratification. Okay? So for me to tell you what I'm looking for, I need to understand what you guys are looking for. And that's why I use companies like this right now to help me understand. Right now we have 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every day. Okay? That means they're hitting retirement age. That's 10,000 possible jobs every day that are reopening up that we don't have. We have a void for that we need to look at. In our bank right now, we do succession planning quite a bit. We did strategic planning this year for the next 5 years. And our strategic planning is the what-if scenario. We look at our senior management, and then we go ahead and say, okay, you know, these individuals are leaving the next 5 years. Who's going to be stepping up? Kind of happened to me in the last 2 years. I was a branch manager, and in the last 2 years, now we're going to make you a regional manager. You know, these are kind of the pathways that we're looking for. Same thing with TJ right here. TJ's 23 right out of college. Bring him in as a trainee, and within the next 12 months, he'll be moving into assistant loan officer position, possibly loan officer position from there. And then, you know, sky's the limit wherever TJ wants to go with the bank. He'll have opportunities. He goes to leave Carroll, move to another one of our locations, so he can become a vice president and office manager. Where does this impact you guys? Right here is our banks are constantly looking for employees. Okay? That strategic planning means we need to fill jobs now. All right? A lot of people think I need to have an accounting degree. I need to have a finance degree. It's not true. Because once again, when I showed with these two individuals, it doesn't matter what degree you have. It's how do you relate to others? How do you network? I have an office manager right now that is a branch manager of a bank. Okay, I'll give you an example here. He's the outlier. He's not the norm. He never went to college, and before this job, he sold hot tubs. Okay? And he's an office manager of a bank. In the small community he's in, he's what we call the boy king. We laugh. We're like, you're the boy. Everyone loves you. You know how to network. You know how to be like pets. Everyone raise their hand. You want to do business with Eric? Yeah, everyone wants to do business with Eric. We hired him, and since he came in to that little branch, he's increased the profitability by 15% in just a year and a half. Now, he's the outline. Most of us, like myself, I've got a finance degree. Most of them have an accounting degree. We're an ag bank, so we look at a lot of people that have an ag background. Maybe an ag business or have grown up on a farm, and then go into a loan officer position there with our bank there. We do bring interns in. We also do some job shadow. If people are interested, definitely, you know, feel free to contact me. Ms. Beeson has my contact information, but if you want to come in and just see, okay, what do you guys actually do at a bank? Because a lot of times, once again, you think we just take money, we lend money back out. There's a lot of hidden things in our job that a lot of people don't get to see, that you can see when you job shadow. We have individuals that have job shadowed with us right out of high school. Now we're heading up, like our compliance department. Jenny Steinkamp, Jenny Schultes, came in when she was a freshman in college, interned with me for 3 years. Left the bank, went to an accounting firm in Des Moines, came back, and now she heads up our compliance department. I have an individual right now, because we're looking for great applicants. He's a sophomore in college, did a great job, basically told him, hey, keep your nose clean, keep on working hard, you have a job when you get out of school. Now, once again, my age, I was fighting up until the last day I graduated to get a good job. Being a sophomore in college, knowing you got a job lined up, we're realizing as banks we need to do that more often. We need to be there getting you guys right out of high school in the beginning of college to compete, get you trained, and see if this is the right fit for you. Any questions you guys might have? About the bank, about anything in general? A little bit about my job, what I do. I oversee about $120 million in loans. Of that, I directly manage about $67 million. 30% of my job, believe it or not, is dealing with fraud. I deal with fraud day in and day out. It's amazing the fraud that takes place even here in rural Iowa. It's become part of our job. We handle anything and everything from selling stocks, bonds, mutual funds, to estate planning, to farm management, crop insurance. We kind of do a full gamut. We're a full service bank. We work on all types of loans. I've done loans for worm farms to large industrial, $12 to $15 million projects. Yeah, anything and everything to think of, we probably touched in one sort or another. One thing I like about my job is, if you imagine, if you're working with that many different industries, your day is always different. You learn so many different things about so many different industries. You're kind of a jack of all trades. TJ, put you on the spot. 30 days on the job. What can you say?
So, from my experience at the bank, I didn't really know exactly what I was getting to, but I took a few classes in college that kind of sparked my interest. And one of my favorite things that I've really started to notice is kind of like Jim said. You meet all sorts of different people, and you get to communicate with them, build relationships, and just learn more about them and how you can help them financially. And to me, coming out of college, that was something that I really wanted to be a part of, was to help someone else, you know, make their life a little easier. And it's at the bank, I'm starting to see a lot of that happening, and it's really a great satisfaction to come home every night and just know that you're making a difference in someone's life. So I know that you know, being in this, I was in this seat a few years ago, 5 to be exact, and you know, you just want to keep all your doors open. Things change through your lives, and you know, I guess it's worth to take a risk and find out what you want to do. And I'm glad to be sitting here and saying I'm actually where I wanted to be, helping people. So if anyone has any questions for me, kind of what I do or anything specifically, can answer them. All right.
Skills that you need, once again, we talk about them. As you can see, to be successful, you've got to be a good communicator, okay? Communication is verbal and nonverbal. So keep an eye on the nonverbal, because people can take, people might have gotten a wrong message from the bank at another institution, and they get the right message. So if you're having a bad